Tonight in Lynchburg, Randolph College will host Roanoke College in a first-round ODAC tournament game. They'll play host to the Maroons for the second time this season. Roanoke got Randolph back in January, 62-59 at Randolph. I talked with Nathan Davis, head coach of Randolph-Macon, and I asked him what would worry him about Roanoke College.
Well, they've got guys with quasi-Ampensah that can really get it going. I mean, he's capable of making shots and getting fouls, so he's a guy that can easily have a night where he has skill. And if he does that, he'll certainly have a chance to win the game. And then Logan Singleton at 6'10" and steps out and shoots the ball really well, which opens the floor up for him.
Tom Palumbo a few weeks back gave me his take on Paige Moyer's Maroons.
They gave us all we could handle at our place. I mean, I think they've got good speed and good quickness in the backcourt, and the big kid Singleton can really, he can really shoot the three. He can score down low. They've got another freshman, a big kid who they're playing inside, and so they can play big lineups. They can play small lineups. They play very well together. They spread the court, and like I said, I mean, they scored a lot of points on us and shot a really good percentage from the field in a game at our place.
Don Burgess and Bridgewater have a game tonight against Eastern Mennonite, but Coach Burgess weighed in on what stands out to him about Roanoke.
The thing that worries me about Roanoke, and I say this over and over, that they're a very dangerous team. Coach Paige Moyer is the godfather of the ODAC, does an outstanding job there. But they had two young men in Quasi and Logan Singleton that are two of the better scorers in the ODAC. And Quasi is one of the best transition scorers who scores in bunches in the ODAC. And if those two guys get going, I mean, they're a dangerous team. You have Logan Singleton, who you try to put a guard on him because he's basically a 6'9" three-point shooter. He just shoots over top of you. And if you put a big guy on you, he pumps fake and drives around them. So, those two guys really worry you. They're scoring well, and then their freshmen coming along on the block also is doing a real nice job.
Back before Paige Moyer and Roanoke came up to Randolph, I had a chance to talk to him. Paige Moyer talked about Randolph College.
Well, I'll point to a couple right there close to Lynchburg right off the bat. Colton Hunt from Randolph is one of the best players in the league. And Derek Woods Morrow would be among that bunch as an inside player. They've got a lot of other good players, and I really, I admire what Clay Nunley's accomplished there, because their kids as a group play as hard as any group in the ODAC.
Obviously, Randolph College does have some very good players. Nathan Davis gave his thoughts on Derek Woods Morrow.
I think very highly of Derek. He's strong, he's athletic, he competes, he rebounds, he's physical in the post. I think he's a tough player.
Kirby Dean, the head coach of the Eastern Mennonite Runnin' Royals, gave his thoughts on Randolph's big man, Derek Woods Morrow.
I mean, he's a load in there. He's not one of those just traditional back-to-the-basket guys that has 14 different moves, but he doesn't need them. I mean, he's so athletic and he's so strong that he's able to just physically overpower you. And then the other thing he does is he gets on the offensive glass, and then defensively, I think he's real solid. I mean, he just seems like a really good kid who's worked really hard and has developed into a really nice player.
Don Burgess from Bridgewater talks about what would worry him about the Wildcats.
Coach Clay Nunley, he has his guys mentally and physically prepared. They're going to be gritty. They're going to be tough. They're going to play a sagging defense in the paint, man-to-man wise, in regards to enticing you to shoot the jumper. And if your jumper is not falling, then you're playing right into their hands. But Derek Woods Morrow, I mean, you're talking about a guy 3 years ago was, 4 years ago, he's a freshman Rookie of the Year in the ODAC Conference. He's a beast down on the block. And then you have All-American and Colton Hunt, who can knock down shots. Colton is deceiving. He's a kid. You look at him, here's a gritty player that can just shoot the three. But he's gritty and can shoot the three. He has the mid-range jumper, but then he's strong enough and mentally and physically strong enough to get past you and to get to the bucket. And if he doesn't get to the bucket, he gets to the foul line. And with that, when you had those two inside-outside combination going, then you add the other solid shooters that they have on the floor. They stretch the defense, and then they run that flex to a T.
Nathan Davis hasn't seen Randolph a lot this year. Did see him in the ODAC final last year and then saw him in December. Hasn't seen him since, but he gave his thoughts on the Wildcats back when I spoke with him earlier in January.
Clay is an excellent coach. They're physical. They're tough. They, I think, are one of the better defensive teams you come across, and they give everybody problems.
3 seniors from Randolph could make a big difference tonight. 2 of them on the court. 1 of them has been injured, but he's still a very important cog to the program. Clay Nunley talks about Malcolm Nelson and what his impact has been on the program.
For us, he became a guy that just really thrived on really being versatile. He became a great defender, guarded a number of positions, could do a lot of things for us. He probably wouldn't be a guy that would score 20, 22 points, but yet he'd be a guy that would have 12 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, a couple steals, and just do so many things to tie things together for our team. And so anyway, that part of it was great, but the biggest overriding lesson that Malcolm has probably taught all of us is the power of attitude in the face of adversity. He's dealt with injuries all 4 years of his career. He couldn't catch a break there. He's never let it get him down. He's always responded the right way to it. He's come back strong every time he's gone down with some kind of an injury, and he's been a model individual in terms of response to things that may be unfair, but they're part of life sometimes, and you got to be able to handle them the right way, and he certainly has done that.
When Julius Thomas came out of high school, obviously there was something that caught Clay Nunley's eye that wanted to make him a Wildcat. Clay Nunley talks about what made Julius Thomas attractive to the Randolph Wildcats.
Great kid. You knew exactly what you were going to get. You were going to get somebody that was going to work hard every day and was going to care about nothing but the team and wanted to be coached, and was a good player, and really just wanted to do whatever needed to be asked of him to help the team. And so I think every team has to have guys like that. And when you look at Julius, he hasn't played a whole lot until this year, but there hasn't been a more valuable member of our program. His attitude is contagious. He is always positive. He never sulks. It's never about him. And so when you have somebody that's like that and they get to this stage of their career where as seniors, or as a senior, he now gets a chance to play, and he's earned those minutes, you're really, really happy for him. And he's stepped up in a lot of ways for us this year. Just recently here against Eastern Mennonite, I mean, he just did a heck of a job defensively and doing a lot of little plays that never show up in the stat sheet to really help our team. And that's something that, again, just as a coach, you're really happy for him.
It obviously started with a group of seniors last year that really laid the foundation for Randolph, led by Caleb Pearson, Timmy Clark, and Pete Hamilton. But Clay Nunley talks about what could be one of the lasting legacies of one of this year's seniors, Derek Woods Morrow.
One thing he's done a real nice job of is playing bigger than his size. He's about 6'4", and he's had to battle against some guys and some players that were bigger. He had to give up some height there, and he did a nice job of playing bigger than his size and not making us, helping contribute to not making us get maybe overwhelmed physically against some teams, especially when we were younger, and maybe we didn't have quite as much depth or quite as much physical presence maybe as we do now.
D. Vick was upset by Randolph this year earlier in Lynchburg. He gave his thoughts on what makes the Wildcats so tough.
They have tournament experience, playing last year in the conference finals. Their kids just really, really play hard on, every possession. You can tell they do a great job of their scouting reports. They play the statistical game. I mean, they know who can shoot, who can't shoot. They're just so well coached. Clay Nunley does an outstanding job. Woods Morrow is very athletic. Colton Hunt, as tough a guard as there is in this league.
A freshman has really come on for Randolph this year and made a big impact. Zach Desgen. D. Vick gave his thoughts on the freshman out of Richmond.
I think Zach Desgen has had as good a freshman year as anybody in our league. His basketball IQ is extremely high. You can tell that he's had a ball in his hand since he was little. He's tough. He makes big plays. He makes others around him better.
Of course, Zach has a brother, Adam, at Randolph-Macon. Kirby Dean talks about both of the Desgen brothers and what makes them special.
Totally different players, but both really, really good in their own way. The Macon-Desgen really hurts you with the ability to make threes, and he's hurt us over the years by making big shots. And then the younger one at Randolph, he's more of a distributor, more of a point guard, more of a create advantages for his teammates, but he can also score. So both of those guys, that's a talented family. I mean, I don't know what the parents did or, what the lineage there is, but those guys are athletic and talented, that's for sure.
And I asked Zach earlier in the season, talk about how it was to play Randolph-Macon this year with your brother on the other side.
It was nice. I had I had a lot of people there, like a lot of my friends coming to see me. And I was nervous at first because I never actually played an official game against my brother before. But once the game got going, I mean, just like any other game to me, I loved it.
One of the wins that really got Randolph headed in the right direction this year was the victory against Hampton-Sydney when Hampton-Sydney came to Lynchburg. After that victory, Randolph reeled off 4 out of 6 victories to close the campaign, the only 2 losses coming against Lynchburg College. Here were Clay Nunley's thoughts after that win against Hampton-Sydney.
We've got a handful of games we lost either in the last possession or the last 90 seconds, and I think our guys were kind of getting to the point where they get starving for a win and they need to have a good break go their way, and today we finally were able to get that. Very proud of them, and I thought we really battled. We weren't as sharp down the stretch as we want to be and need to be, but we did enough good things over the course of the game to prevail in the end, and just really happy for our guys. Just like I said, I told them in the locker room I'll never get tired. We as coaches will never get tired of watching them have success. And, we've had injuries this year. We've had some adversity. We've had, like I said, close games didn't go away. And you got to stay the course. You got to keep working. You got to keep believing. And when you do that, you can try to give yourself a chance to turn it around. So it's just one game. It's a game in January, but it's obviously a great win. And we got to be ready to try to build on it now, second time through.
Final word goes to Paige Moyer. I asked him the keys to beating Randolph back in January. Let's hear what he said, because I'm sure some of them will carry over to tonight's game at Randolph.
Well, you got to match their energy and intensity. I saw them play live at Randolph-Macon a few weeks ago in a great game, one that could have gone either way. But Colton Hunt is one of the toughest, hardest-nosed players. He's a great all-around player, but a tremendous scorer. He hit threes. He can go to the hoop. The Desgain kid, their freshman, is like another Colton Hunt coming in. He's probably going to end up being that good, and he's the same type player. He can beat you from outside or inside. He beats you with toughness and smarts. But he's got a lot of well-rounded players. He's got some really nice players in the wing that have some shooting ability to score going to the hoop. I think the thing, first off, that they've won and become successful because they play great team defense. I mean, they don't give you good shots inside or out. You got to work for everything you get. And for a team that isn't as big as some of the other teams, I think it impressed me the most about Randolph at Randolph-Macon is they just box out, rebound, and go after the 50-50 balls and loose balls as well as anybody we play.
If you can make it out to Lynchburg tonight to the Randolph Athletics and Dance Center, definitely check it out. It should be a great tournament game as both teams look to advance to Friday's matchup in Salem. With it being an ODAC tournament game, the cost of the tickets is $5. Students and children admitted free of charge with a student ID. Obviously, the kids don't need a kid's ID, but check it out. It will be in Lynchburg tonight. Winner will get Guilford on Friday. For the Sports Buffet podcast, this is Bob Alvis.